So what we are going to do is switch over to what is Bluprnt and really digest that with you guys today and talk a little bit more about what we're all about, how we've gotten here and, what makes us tick. Really why we do what we do is at the core of that and why anybody should care. So recently today I was on an economy call with OpenEXO at openexo.com. They're a fantastic organization, and it just really gave me some ideas on what we should put out. And let's see if we can get a few more people involved, and let's see if I can get a few people to come on and talk about that today. And we'll go through a number of explanations in that space. So what we've been really working on is a way for people to, like a transport for dreams, right? A place for ideas to grow. Imagine a space where founders and investors of all types, because really when you think about it, everybody is investing something, right, in an idea. The space, imagine where those people consider each other equals, where a founder doesn't see financial investors as predatory, and where they have good relationships with other builders in that space, where an investor doesn't feel like when they give money to a founder, they're going to not listen to them, which is a big problem in our society right now as far as the lack of active listening. So what happens when you build a space that people can really get involved in, where they have a great amount of attention and appreciation for each other, and they're really deeply aligned in a why, how, what, like Simon Sinek talked about. I have some people who could really add some spices to the soup here, and so I just should make an announcement, and we will get some people up on stream, and we will talk about what we're doing in the idea. So we are streaming today on Zoom, and we have a link for that as well, where we can hang out and be a part of this. If you are interested in joining our community, you can sign up at bluprnt.org. You can get involved in, this is really what we do. We help you launch your ideas in either a weekend or 90 days. Really, that's the time frame that we work in, and we've got the resources to help you build your ideas, generally without money. And then if you are able to provide resources in that regard to help feed the community, that's going to get people even more incentivized, of course, to work in that space. But we all know intuitively why good ideas are successful, why good teams are built to build those ideas, and why that makes the world a better place. We all intuitively, if we pause for a moment, know what that is. That's a really interesting thing. So watch here. And so okay, cool. So let's really, I think, go into this in the sense of now that we have an idea of what really can drive, let's call it collaboration and sharing between people, let's then talk about, like, well, what are we going to do about that? Okay, so there's a systemic problem that we're sort of laying out here. Like, what is the problem that we're thinking about? And if we think about problems, I find that, for me at least, a really effective way to do that is to talk about things in the idea of a question. So what is our question that we're asking here today? To start the conversation, Bluprnt started with one single question: was, why is there a lack of time, connection, and security for most people to build their ideas? And we decided to build information enabling, decision making kind of systems and tools, and building a community of people who understood the impact that would have in a future of workspace. That's a really incredible thing when it comes down to it. So I'm going to really put out there to the world that we need to come together and, how would you say it, give each other that attention and appreciation that each other deserves. And it's incredible what you can find in people if you're just willing to listen. So, really, let's go through this here a little bit. What are we doing? How did we do it? And why are we doing it? All right. So we are empowering people to do better, really empowering innovation to start specifically, and a transport for ideas to grow, a tow truck for dreams, however you want to frame it, is generally the concept that most people compare us to. We're really built on an Aristotelian idea of virtuous spontaneity. And so we're an incubator network where people can build, invest in, and grow ideas. Obviously, I should edit that there. Just by helping each other's grow. Wow. Either way, by helping each other grow, that's really what we're doing. And so as investors in impact with a lot of experience behind us, we realized that there was something we could be doing better than working in jobs. We could go create value and try to create a lot more jobs and opportunity around this future of workspace that we were all starting to get involved in. We have below here a number of inspirational points that we've gone through and we've really digested as a team. And what I mean by that is, all right, there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to tell a story. Moreover, like I've mentioned, truly listen to someone else. And it's incredible, like Jordan Peterson talks about, what happens when you really just start listening to somebody. You do this idea of active listening. And so at the end of the day, there's a lot of people out there that might say something to you. Let's say, I'm feeling really terrible today because of such and such. And you say back to them, all right, it sounds like you're feeling really terrible about this because of this thing. And you don't move on from that part of the conversation until they feel as though you've stated that correctly. That's a incredible thing that you can do for really, for really anyone when it comes down to it. Just listen to them. What happens when you don't listen to someone? What, what happens when you have someone who's alone like that for a long time? We all know what that is, and that's a that causes someone to go crazy. Like that's nothing that you would wish on anyone, right? So you want to do something about it, you should probably go to bluprnt.org. That's somewhere where you can find people who genuinely care about each other, who are really interested in what Harvard economists call a shared value economy. And we've been doing something about this for about 3 years now. You remember how I said that we can help build your dream, your idea in a weekend with most ideas? We took 3 years as a team of people like that to really learn about our process and prepare for this. So that says I'm excited, and that says, heck yeah, it's possible. And that belief starts to really grow. And what we've seen in our own lives and the lives of people around us is, when you put something like that into a life, it can become exponential. Like, it's absolutely exponential. So a lot of innovators really do lack exposure, like we're talking about right here. And what we already mentioned is people without a story. There's a lot of people all over the world that have been part of, if you've been a part of a crowdsourcing event or helping build an idea, there's a lot of people out there that have walked away from those events feeling as though they, well, got screwed, or they just have a mistrust for future attempts or other things along those lines. People didn't listen to them. They had a power vacuum event, what we call a honeypot event, like from Winnie the Pooh, right? If you try to pull your hand out of a jar, right, and your hand's in a honeypot, it hits on the jar, right? You have to release your hand to get it out. So it's a it's a really it's a really interesting thing when you think about ego and money on the table and a lot of opportunity. How aligned do you need to be? What good fences do you need to have between your neighbors as founders or your investors to be able to move forward and really, I think, treat everybody with the respect they deserve and grow your team to a point of very deep trust that drives that value even further? Like, that's making the campsite better. That's feeding a community. That's let's call it a little bit closer to proper allocation of capital, that we can all take this. So we talked about misaligned founder matching there, and really a competitions for losers kind of Peter Thiel statement, where there's a lot of people out there trying to differentiate. He goes through the idea of monopolies. A Google, for example, would say, hey, we're in global advertising, not in search, where there's obviously antitrust issues. The idea of an antitrust issue is is a really interesting thing. However, that's another conversation. Should we be optimizing what we're doing and specializing? Like, you make apples, I make oranges. Again, another conversation. But really being the one guy that's a small guy, the small business, and you're saying, all right, well, hey, this guy on the top saying, I don't have a monopoly, but this guy, this small business is sitting here and saying, all right, well, holy buckets, I am, I'm the only one with this product in the room. I have the only unique bow tie. And speaking of reaching out to, a number of people that, really want to wear their own bow tie and say, hey, I'm the only one with this unique opportunity. Just remember that you're really doing a play of saying, hey, I have monopoly on this thing when you really don't. So what are you truly excited about these days? And how can we help really is what we're doing, is what we are focused on, right? And I'm just putting a post out here on LinkedIn. I would really enjoy it if people could find a place where they can succeed and where they can find, let's call it, a convergence with happiness at the same time. So you really need to be happy in your life. And there's a certain sense of like stability in that, where how we can help is what we are focused on, is what we focus on. Building a company without money. Right? Does that sound attractive? Because is that possible? You're damn right that's possible with us. So why not go and do that kind of work with a hell of a lot more people? I really, at the end of the day, have been, working on my own personal journey for a very long time, which was filled with massive traumas and other things in that space. And what that really gave to me was an idea of sensitivity to different let's call them costs that we can avoid, or benefits really is the other side of the coin. And I then decided to become an SME. And well, actually that's really a fallacy, because who can ever really get to the wall? So I decided to learn quite a bit about other SMEs and learn a lot about, proper allocation of capital, alignment of teams and other things. And I started working with more people that were just like that. Again, another push for openexo.com. They're a great organization out there. They've supported us quite a bit, and they've got some fantastic people there that really are just all about exchanging information and talking about the future and building projects. And they have a marketplace and a lot of media and training, and their methodology was documented in a book called Exponential Organizations. So when you go out and learn about people who are processing companies, my role really in that space has been processing the idea of learning with people, right? Learning with a company in the sense of treating it like a last line of defense, right? Think of it as, imagine there's a person in the desert who needs water right now, and you need to get that to them ASAP. You're the only one that can do it, and they can't move forward without you, obviously. Never forgetting that a company truly represents that is so absolutely critical. And to have that fervor for the idea, like Steve Jobs talked about, your onboarding process has to be like the Navy SEALs, but love, right? Loving honesty instead of brutal honesty. And if someone can really make it through that and show that kind of alignment they have with your team through an arduous process that really brings out the personal details before money on the table, right? Any investor of any type, any founder, any person with the financial resources to help people do better and help themselves at the same time, that's becoming more approachable every day. Not just in our organization, in others. And there's so much damn need in it that we really need people to copy what we're doing. Like, I'm dead serious about that. Our transport for ideas that it could be viewed as like a chassis. And we have a number of different companies like the Engine or the Dash or other things like that that plug into that process and help facilitate it. Really, at the end of the day, we're just a bunch of brilliant people. I'll give that to my community. We have really put the time in to overcome these things, and we've become deeply considerate or sensitive to the world about different things. That is That is incredible, right? And true people of character, a host of people of deep, virtuous spontaneity. And so, really, when we talk about that, we have to really talk about our philosophy of anything is possible, right? And let me just make sure that I covered the previous sections up here, but we there are massive rapid prototyping concerns, and there is a competition for loser space where people are claiming monopolies when it's really not healthy for their business, their team, or anything like that. It's more of an abundance space pairing with the Harvard economist talking about shared value economies and how the failings of corporate responsibility. Like there's a there's a anything is possible kind of belief necessary for the kind of community that we have, just as a point of like, hey, you need to be able to believe in yourself to be able to utilize our system, and we have plenty of process and people willing to help in the exploration of what you truly believe in yourself, and really like why your mother loved you. A lot of us can see that inside of anyone, and that's where we start from. And we just try to appreciate that and create a space where I can lay out a blueprint in front of you, and or even a little trauma as fellow founders, and toss it in the fire if needed afterwards. Like that kind of adventure, that kind of experience for people is, oh my God, that just flourishes in a life to a point that's just exponential. And that's why, again, I appreciate the OpenEXO community. There's a lot of good intention. There's a lot of effort. There's a ton of optimism, right? And in this state of like our society's falling into nihilism with all of, well, lots of different things happening, which we won't go into, a philosophy, a really core set of principles that I heard about recently of authenticity, and the idea that which really helped me solidify what our very simple core principles are is authenticity and surrendering the outcome. Like it's going to happen or I can't control the outcome, one of those two. And then really moving forward into, all right, we're going to do the uncomfortable, and we're going to work at that diligently with a deep sense of desire, like the air that you breathe. I desire to live. If I can build like I desire to live, holy buckets, the things you will do, holy buckets, the adventure you will go on. Like that to me is, that's exponential. That's what Aristotle, Nietzsche, Young, Peterson, these people speaking out to you to, hey, say, hey, please go take your life seriously, take the lives of people around you seriously. And if you can really have that in your life, the things you can lead, the things you can build, the things you can be a part of, like holy buckets. So really, what do you want to create for yourself? What will be the mark you leave on the world? What is your life heading towards? Like that is just, that's how we build good things. That's how we build the idea of good in our lives. Again, Peterson talking about the Gulag Archipelago. That's not good, right? That's not good. Anything that's not that is us approaching the idea of good, right? And that's like a man in my life said once. He said, approaching the speed of life, Bryant, is like approaching a wall, right? You can only get a half step forward to the remaining distance. So the idea of truth in your life is really it's really an interesting almost fallacy, right? The idea of spiral dynamics we could talk about, where truth is just a wrapping tube of candy off into infinity, and stuff like that. Again, another time. But really, it's been amazing to work with different people that are in this space. Like I cannot tell you how much it helped me heal my own life. Uh, I am so grateful to this damn community, and I have made so many mistakes, and they were there for me through those mistakes, so I could take something and go lead, and I could make a better place with them for them to have something to go lead, or to be a part of something, or whatever they desire in the categories. For most people, it's four things, right? We've got altruism, ego, profit, and learning, right? Again, altruism, ego, profit, and learning. And everybody usually has a primary and a secondary, and you have to sort of fit into that, right? These are the things that bug you that you're not achieving to the point that you can. Like Martin Luther King said, if you can't be a big timber on the hill, be a shrub in the valley. Sweep streets like Michelangelo painted. Like, ooh, I'm getting the goosebumps. Like, damn, like that's some good shit. That's some whatever. That's some great stuff. All right. And so if you put that into the beautiful questions that get you out of bed with, like, why Is there not enough connection, time, and security to build ideas? Oh my God, like that's incredible. So we've learned you don't have to do it alone, right? And we will make it better, right? It's an absolute honor to serve with such great people, right? In an innovation cooperative, right? Where we can actually just build shit. A handshake is not dead. God is not dead. Nirvana between people is not dead. No matter how you process that, it whatever rapid, whatever you dream about, whatever makes you itch, whatever silly machines you make, that's amazing, right? We think that's just absolutely incredible, right? You are absolutely incredible. And I think the first thing that anybody needs to do is just like give yourself a pat on the back, like right off the bat, because you're just awesome, right? And that's all I need to know, right? There's a reason someone loved you, and if someone hasn't, get your ass over here right now, because there's some people who really know how to do that for themselves, and they're very much ready to help other people in that space. And this is just like a good mentoring relationship. You can't ask for money from someone like that, right? That's a mentor having another mentor. There's actually no one-way mentoring, a true mentoring relationship, one that is defined by those people, not the idea of truth in a global sense, but truth in that local between those two people. There can be a mentor, and that's it. One person who takes one to the precipice in one space they're sensitive or considerate of, and then the other who takes the other person in that mentor to the other precipice. And oftentimes in life, one of those may get uncomfortable, that may fall down, but that's your time to keep charging forward, to keep charging forward. To keep charging forward, period. Do not be denied. Do not stop, right? And so, are you serious about accelerating the vision you have forward for the world? Like, check out the podcast, which is Finding Beautiful Questions on anchor.fm. We have interviewed and tried to help promote a bunch of just straight up beautiful people. Just, you guys are beautiful people, right? End of story. Get involved with us, or, check out how we came to be, and let's go over it here. See, we've got Martin Luther King, we've got Dr. Seuss, and we've got Bluprint. And an ideal became through belief, joy, and a hell of a lot of fun, right? A community of innovators and the resources to build ideas and the trust and security to better collaborate. Wow. All right. I mean it. Like, holy crap. Like, you guys are incredible people. And I, to be honest, have been one of the leaders in this community who has learned a absolute metric ton about myself. And by finding more people like myself, what did I find? I found myself. That's just crazy. So, purposes all over the world, aligned founders, and I'm dead serious. We are very conservative with the lives that we've impacted at this point in time. In various capacities, we've been in garages. I'm in my basement next to my 3D printer that inspired the whole process. Like, how many things does this thing enable me to produce on top of the mounds of concepts and books that I have over here? I didn't have enough lifetime to build all of my ideas. I didn't have enough lifetime to really heal by myself. I didn't have enough lifetime to do it alone, and nor do you. Nor does anybody. If you see this at any moment in time, we are going to be trucking. This isn't something that can be stopped. It's not something that should be stopped. It just intuitively makes sense to people. It's not like logical concepts, which are all about controlling and the idea of truth, and just like, ugh, just, it's not new. You can't create new in that space. Nietzsche talked about the camel, the lion, and the child, right? And the dragon between the lion and the child right there. And when you take a look at that camel phase where you go and learn the rules, right? And then you move to the lion phase where, like, the Dalai Lama says you should break those rules, right? You then move to where you must, work with the dragon. Is a lot of people say defeat, and I'd like to say that Errol Garrison, who is a incredible creative, just without being a part of my life, has inspired my life through his work with, like, Chris Do and other people trying to help creatives understand, like, hey, how can we integrate into society? How can we do these kinds of things? And the dragon in Nietzsche's beautiful story is what prevents a lot of people from doing that. Why does it prevent them, right? Because as he describes in this beautiful metamorphose, right, the idea is that every one of the dragon's scales gleams with the idea of thou shalt. Thou shalt. This is the way of the world. And so I really do not have any need for that outside of needs and survival. And Maslow points this out quite well in Maslowian hierarchy of needs. And so when you provide someone enough to be able to survive, right, and they're deeply impassioned by being able to love themselves through a process of working with others, they can go out and make lives better. And those are the quintessential things that are going to help tap the brilliance of a generation. I'm calling out to any Second Mountain folks, right? 45 plus, if you are wondering where your life went or what the purposes are that you want to get involved in, come tap at the brilliance of people 18 to 35 in that space. And I'm not leaving out the 35 to 45-year-olds. Just come hang out with like a group of folks that are right in the middle, who are really the operations, right? We're trying to bridge together two people, and that's where I've often found myself throughout my life. I didn't know why I was able to work with people of such wisdom of so many years, a fine wine, right, is how I see age. And then at the same time, I didn't know why I was able to understand these people at the same time, and bridging them together really off the bat is just, it's a benefit for all of us, and it's the resurrection of the family and many other things that have really perished, in our society because of propaganda and romanticized interactions and just fantasy worlds that are being sold to people. Um, that's sleazy, right? And if you're doing that in your life, you can do better. I don't judge you for it. I'm just saying you can do better, and just come hang out with people that you'll probably be able to grow your community or your ideas even more, make way more revenue, and do it in a way that's authentic with people. And being authentic is what? It's impressive. It is holy buckets impressive. So the depth of this conversation prompts our creation. The depth of this community continues to drive this innovation and this protocol, this process, which is deeply intuitive, both blended with intuitive qualitative work as well as very intuitive quantitative work, with a lot of risk measuring and a lot of folks who we do love, who they understand the rules and they know how to break them. The interesting thing is when you're with the dragon, like Nietzsche talked about, you don't have to see its scales. Thou shalt doesn't have to exist. Just, you don't need to see that. Right? Make sure to keep the things up that keep you healthy. Those are really needs at a base level. But what the dragon wants you to see, the wants of the world, the looking glass with like Thomas Coulet, and the hell, the shit, the billions of Indian men and women right now who have been told by their parents, as well as US based, basically, not a country specific. It was a generational parenting concept that put happiness after success. You must be successful to be happy. Look what happened. There's no blame. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Let's appreciate that. Let's own it and do something about it, Second Mountain folks, right? Fine wine. Let's make some people able to flourish, right? Let's set the right spices in their soup, in what they can be. And they can be intoxicating for the world, right? It could be contagious, right? A little bit of play on what we've been going through. We got community leaders all over the world. Connect with them wherever they are. We're starting to grow on a global basis. We've got people who we've helped, like we talked about, and our values are becoming very, very, very clear to us, in the sense of we are truly men and women of character who walk in this world having an honest conversations with ourselves and those around us. And we collaborate transparently through a sense of extreme ownership to empower people to innovate. Like that's it right there. We have guiding principles, i.e., swim lanes of fun, objective, ethical, feasible, community driven, doesn't discriminate, allows for failure, and sparks questions. Like that is, this is pretty wild. And there they are: OpenEXO, Y Combinator, Planetary Care with Forest Lighthouse, and Lumen with Maya Zuckerman, both fantastic people. Kent Langley, Salam Ishmael, Yaroslav. These kinds of people have been leading this community for a long time, and they're ready to help you, right? Please check them out as well. I am not intending on just branding as my own, right? I'm intending to brand with other people who really love the world, and I love you guys, right? You're awesome. So Brilliance is a fantastic learning organization, and this is one of Peter Thiel's organizations, and I would love it if you guys go check this out. He's done some fantastic work, and I really think you could seriously benefit from this. So let's talk about, like, what are we going to what are we going to do beyond this? And so what we need to do is show the toolbar and move back here. I forget what the shortcut for that is, but either way. So, at the end of the day, we would really like it if you guys come make some jazz with us. And what do I mean by that is, the Aristotelian idea of being able to make jazz in your own life, being able to be spontaneous, in the way Alan Watts talked about the idea of a lot of people in life want the idea of, like monotone. And me and others in life, we really make you guys uncomfortable, it seems like, and we don't want to. We don't want to be difficult. We don't want to be told that we're difficult. We just want to help. We want your appreciation, and we don't need it, but we'd love that. That'd be fantastic. And so jazz is the idea of like being able to go right, straight up, like straight up. Here we are, just having a real conversation with each other. That's the kind of community that we all want. Absolutely. Right. That's what we all want. And so we want the idea of making jazz with other people. Why don't we keep reading a little bit and see what's in the next chapter? All right. So here's our organizational view. Like quite literally, just come copy what we're doing. I mean, like if you're gonna go do this in the world and I can help you build it, then you want me like yesterday, or your organization could be losing millions a year by not having a creative community wrapping around it and helping protect your success, like helping you integrate into a future of work that's that's helping my community, helping the thing, my family, the people I call family, then they call me family, and it's all something we can be a part of, not but something we all serve, something we learn with. Um, that's absolutely incredible. As of right now, we primarily work in the incubator space, as with startups and other things along those lines. Founders, amazing people. Investors, the same. Taught me a lot. And partners, we're always looking to diversify the offerings that we have here. We're always looking to make that process more elegant. And if you can handle different bits of it, we're going to be in that market. We're going to 100% be in that market, and we're looking for people who we can work with as partners, even copies of our own platform so we can learn together. That'd be fantastic. So we're building Linux for collaboration, and we're launching the concept right now. A white paper will come, and other things will get built iteratively. But remember, we don't focus on that wall of truth, right? We're ready to go now, and it's almost unethical to not share this kind of stuff with people. Like truly, it's unethical, and when people hide that behind uh, business models and other things like that, that just um, further perpetuate boundaries to access to opportunity, even um, as all opportunity, really all capital is depreciating, right? And really really heading to that point of demonetization. We still try to put up these barriers of control when we could actually be valuing something very different, very very different, but loving and in parallel at the same time. So I say this with much quantitative understanding and research, as well as a deep intuitive feeling that there is a crack in the wall and something is not right, and something will be done about it in a what Martin Luther King called a non-militaristic style manner, where we do not cause any harm or property, which means brand on love, brand on understanding, brand on some real listening, where you actually give two shits about what the other person has to say. That's I'm sold. You're sold, I'm sold, everybody's freaking sold, but people don't believe it. People don't believe it's possible. Well, a handshake is not dead. If you believe that, get over to bluprnt.com. Like I don't need to tell you anything further. Like you just cut the video right now. Uh, we have a couple of companies. We have Smart Founders, Bluprint Consulting. We have a mentoring service, and one that has recently just been added, who I'm extremely excited about, by a partner of ours now, Dan Hendry, out of Brisbane, Australia. He works with a group that can basically help you grow your companies in the growth hacking marketing space. And they have a deeply intuitive, highly automated process that is helping our community and many others grow. You send him an idea, and this man's going to help you grow. Dan Hendry, hit him up on LinkedIn. I'll try to include the link later. Just a fantastic guy. And it reminds me we need to do an update to our website. But he's really, I want to spotlight him here because he's he's a fantastic guy, and you can see him in the community leaders section up here as far as our team and those kinds of things. I need to update that to Brisbane as well. So That's really what we do, right? We do mentorship. We're a think tank, and really as a community, and we have formed into a process that builds dreams, builds companies. And if it's not your dream, to be honest, you should probably go work on that dream. Yeah, probably straight up. So, um, collaboration tools, we vet out a lot of that stuff, and we will, for any investor, founders, those with capital that can help others go faster, gas for the engine, um, different types of gas for the engine, one of many different types of the gas for the engine, and being able to rapidly build it in not just 90 days, but like a weekend to market, to market, to market. Man, that's fantastic, right? So I am just I'm absolutely excited. And again, you'll see mentoring, feasibility, equity sharing, build it fast, build a solution, get investment. And there's a section missing here, which is coming. And now we're investing. We have investor deal flow programs where we can work with people to really pay that back. And we're looking for impact investors who are really interested in maybe sitting on our nonprofit's board that does a lot of our governance. And then at the same time, they'll have incentives and perks to work with founders that they're really excited about. And we would want to align you guys in the same way. We align the founders to be, and the investors to be all types of investors, more appropriately, to be very effective together. Just straight up, just very effective. Like all the stuff I listed out is like the basis of all work. What are all legends made from? They're made from people work and sacrifice. Do the uncomfortable, accept the outcome, be authentic, right? That's it. Like just charge forward with that and you'll figure the rest out along the way, or we'll help you. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. Like this was actually a lot of fun just chatting with you guys. And the next time I'm streaming, you can expect that we're just going to have a lot of fun. And if you want to jump on our Discord and maybe join our Zoom, or I can do an interview with you on the purpose that you're doing and finding beautiful questions, or you need help building an idea right now, dude, like awesome, awesome people, get over here, because like you could either end up in our shared value economy where you're just helping with other businesses and they help you and you have got an ally hitting the market, people who understand that struggle, and you've got builders that you can work with in our community to help offset your needs almost on a barter system, but we've tokenized a lot of it. So there's a lot of details behind that, and we also need help with building our actual platform. So there's lots of things to do. We definitely need help. So I'll catch you guys on the flip side. We don't have all the answers, but we'll iteratively keep trying until we're there. So, thank you again for your time. It's always really interesting to meet new people, and I'm excited to keep moving forward in that space. So you will expect to keep seeing or hearing from us. And if you're ever interested, if you've worked with us before, or when you need that moment where the shit is just the shit storm has just happened and your company is just breaking down, or you don't know where to start, or you're sick of founders not listening to you, that has got to stop. So we're going to be really excited to meet anybody that can commit to those kinds of things, has that kind of discipline and desire. We're going to be very excited to help those people in our capacity now, and as that grows, we can help more people. Just straight up, pay it forward, appreciate, give some attention. The wheels on the bus go round and round. I'll catch you guys on the flip.